Hi, welcome to We Have Been Watching podcast with Rob and Mart. I'm Rob.
Hello there, I'm Mart.
And in this episode, we're going to be discussing Indian cinema big action hit KGF. And also, it's a little bit of an oldie, but it's quite a good movie to recommend, Werewolves Within. But before all that, Mart.
Yes?
What is it?
Rob, it's trailer time. Go, hey. Press the button. So, Rob, John Wick 4, are you ready for another John Wick?
Yeah, I don't feel at the end of John Wick 3, which I loved. 1 was good, 2 was okay, 3 was awesome. I didn't feel at the end of 3 like, oh, why are they rolling out another one? Give it a rest. I don't feel like that about John Wick. I'm quite happy for another John Wick film. Aren't you? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely, because it is the gold standard that everybody wants to be. But have we seen too many action-y John Wick wannabes now? Or do you think we're going to be...
Jerry Actioners.
Jerry Actioners.
That's what I like to call them.
Jerry Actioners, brilliant. Look, it is the gold standard. Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu back together doing a training montage. What could be better?
I find it, and you compare this to Grey Man, and I know when you've got him like jumping off trains and explosions and stuff, obviously it's going to be CGI'd and stuff, but yeah. I feel that even some of the action scenes now, I've been a bit spoilt by John Wick and I've been spoilt by Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. You see actors now and I think that's clearly not you, and then they're just doing something like some punching and kicking and doing a bit of rolling around on the floor, and you can tell it's not them. And I think, how much are you being paid to do this job? You can't do a few action moves. You can't train up to do that. No, I don't expect him to be, doing the Tom Cruise hanging out of a plane. But
well, was it the Matrix? Because I always go back to the Matrix. They train for like 6 months or 9 months, or even longer actually, to get into shape to do this. I mean, you expect your Chris Pines and your Chris Hemsworths to be in shape, don't you? But
and even if they trick you, and we'll talk about this later when you've watched Prey, but there's a scene in Prey where it feels like it's done in a one-shot action sequence, and then at the end you can clearly see actress's face. And I was thinking, well, was that actually just done in camera, or was it like a stuntman and then they cut to, can they fix it now with a bit of jiggery pokery? So it looks like it was her at the end, but it wasn't before that, or what, I don't know. But I like seeing the person's face and it's them. And I feel like I get that with John Wick 4. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth at Keanu Reeves going home.
Do you remember,
bruised.
I think it was the first John Wick. There was clips coming out on YouTube of Keanu doing these shooting ranges where he's
Yes, yeah. Saw those.
That kind of buzz. And I suppose that was what it is for John Wick, isn't it? There's a lot of up-close work, a lot of up-close combat. So there's not like Tom Cruise jumping off planes and things. Yeah. There's not that kind of stunt, is there? It is kind of close up.
I really want to watch John Wick 3 again, but as soon as I feel like I want to watch John Wick 3, I think I might as well just start from 1 again.
Rob, what about a John Wick watch session?
John Wickathon.
John Wickathon. There we go. Moving on from John Wickathon, we'll leave it at that. Don't worry, darling, another trailer in which I've got no clue what's going on. And I love
this is like the Nope trailer in the sense that I'm intrigued enough to want to see it, and I like the cast. I quite like Harry Styles. I think he's all right. He's got a bit of star charisma about him.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh's awesome in everything. I'm not quite sure if is this like meant to be someone going mad like that old movie Repulsion, if you know that, or is it going to be?
I know of it, yeah.
Or is it something that's going to have a bit more Twilight Zoney twist to it? I don't know. But the fact it looks good, and I don't know, is a great situation for a trailer for once.
I love all these don't know. Life's great, but there's something nibbling at the edges. If it comes out that they're in some sort of futuristic setting thinking they're in the 1950s, I love that kind of stuff. But
that's the thing that I thought. We have all these theories watching it, and then no, they're just in the 1950s and she's a bit mad.
Is that it? That's fine, I can work with that, that's okay.
Yeah.
So Blonde, so you told me to watch this, I've watched this now. Our new favourite actor, Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. She's fab, isn't she?
Yeah, she's great. She's fantastic in Knives Out.
Yep.
She didn't get a lot to do, but she was all right in Grey Man, wasn't she?
Yeah. Knock Knock. We were talking about off air, weren't we? With John Wick, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. She's good in that.
And of course, No Time to Die, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, she almost stole that film, didn't she? She was great in that.
Yeah.
This blonde,
it's a biopic, isn't it? Yeah.
Worldwide, but it's in the UK anyway. It's certainly coming end of September, going straight to Netflix. It's referred to as a fictionalized chronicle of the inner life of Marilyn Monroe. So it's not going for fly on the wall documentary. It's going for stylized, and you can get the sense of that from the trailer. Actually, that's going for a bit more of a stylized approach. Looks like it's a mixture of colour and black and white. Andrew Dominic, the guy who directed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of these, but these are all probably Chopper. I don't know if you've seen that. That's amazing.
No, I don't know that.
It's about the Australian prisoner that's a bit of a killer guy, and he chops his ears off.
From like the 90s or something, or the 80s.
With Eric Banner in it.
Yes, I have seen that. Oh, yeah, that's mad.
So that's really good.
Yeah.
Assassination of Jesse James with Brad Pitt, which is you might like that actually. It's got that kind of, it's got that sort of, we talked about how films feel more like a poem or like a novel. They feel like they're taking the time. They're not rushing for anyone else. It feels like great performances. It looks brilliant. That's a really good film. And Killing Them Softly did, which I haven't seen, but I wanted to see, and I kind of just forgot. And he's done a couple of episodes of Mindhunter as well, which is a great show. So I'm hooked on this. The star and the director, I want to see that.
Now, you've watched Elvis, haven't you? It's that thing as well. I think she looks a lot like Marilyn Monroe in this, but obviously it's the hair, the makeup, the beauty spot. I don't know whether she actually does look like if you put them side by side, but she kind of sells it really well. She looks so much like her. I'm definitely watching this film. It looks great.
Yeah.
Right, Rob, shall we move on to the main feature today?
Yes.
Right, so just wanted to say thanks to any listeners. So what happened, we reviewed RRR, and then we've had quite a lot of YouTube comments of people telling us other Indian cinema films to watch. And
yes,
the first one,
because I've never heard of it. So you reviewed it, and we had some, we had a lot of views on YouTube, and then so I was itching to watch it. So then I've given my opinion on an episode, which has got some good for us, some really good.
For us,
Yes, we've got a great list. So any of these YouTube commenters, it's fantastic.
And this is totally, we don't know whether these are blockbusters, whether they're just personal favourites. So KGF Kolar Gold Fields. Make sure I got it right.
Yeah.
Starring.
Which?
Yeah, go on.
Which the first half of the film, I was kind of thinking, there's not much in the gold fields going on here. But the second half of the film, it does explain why it's called that.
And it's another 2.5 hour epic, isn't it? Are all these big Indian films, are they all big, long 2.5? Then again, though, The Grey Man was a good 2 and a bit hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the big American hits, they're going that way, aren't they? Look at the Batman, crikey.
Well, yeah, that's 3 hours, isn't it? So it stars rocking star Yash. Now, again, I've no idea. Is he like huge?
We suspect that's not his real name.
Well, I guess his name is Yash, but that's his sort of title. I like that. This guy, Rob, what do you call it? You said there's movie stars. What is it? There's actors and there's movie stars. Yes. So is Sean Connery's a great example of it. Yeah. Now,
when you see Sean Connery in Hunt for Red October or The Untouchables, he's not absorbed in the role. He's no Daniel Day-Lewis in that sense, is he?
No.
But he's great, and I like Sean Connery a lot. But he is kind of playing himself, and really, people like Robert Redford and Paul Newman's are kind of doing that. Tom Cruise kind of crosses the two, doesn't he?
Ryan
Reynolds
does
do stuff like Lestat, doesn't he, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is definitely his movie star, but better than Ryan Reynolds for me is people like these guys that the Indian cinema used to bring up. These are the people that whoever's on screen, you're watching them.
Yeah.
And it's not just The Rock being a big personality. It's people like Sean Connery's and Orson Welles. It's these people that are just big movie star legends, and this is where I think people like the Kirk Douglases of the past era come from, because they're so watchable and they just look great on screen.
I mean, go on, Rob. The
2 films we watched so far, because it's hard to, avoid comparing and contrasting, but RRR and KGF have both got these really charismatic leads, haven't they?
Well, so far, all the actors I've seen, these are all like ultra buff, ultra handsome Indian men. So they're all like super cool. And like Yash so Yash plays Rocky, doesn't he? He's a kid born into poverty on the slums, and his sort of mum's dying wish says to him, you know, leave the world a rich man. And he sort of goes through, doesn't he, as he seems as a kid, proving himself against one of the sort of big bosses. And he works his way up, doesn't he, through the crime ranks. And he almost becomes like the right-hand man of what do they call him? The Don, don't they?
Yes, it's like a sort of mafioso-y type.
Yeah, and it's so the film is set in it's two main time periods, isn't it? What is it? Is it 1981? There's this old guy who goes into like a newspaper office and says, "I've got this book. I want to talk to you."
This bit at the start, I felt a little bit confused at first. I felt like I'd almost accidentally missed a bit at the start, and I felt like I was playing catch up quite quickly, thinking, what's going on here? What's this got to do with?
Yeah, but I got into it, and then it shows what is it? Is it like the 70s? Late? No, it must be. Is it a bit earlier than that?
It looks it. I mean, from the colours and the styling, it does look a bit that, yeah.
But that I think it really works for this, because you've got Yash or Rocky, we'll call him this both throughout the film. He's got these sort of like leather jackets and big collars, but it works really well. But then there's other scenes where they've got what look to be quite modern motorbikes, but then all the cars are like old-fashioned Mercs and old-fashioned BMWs and Rolls Royces. It's a very fast cut film, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I found a little bit hard for this really is no shot lasts for more than 2 or 3 seconds. So everything's got that same rhythm to it. It's fast, cutting all the time. Yep. And sometimes it can just be cutting. I mean, you know, if there's a scene with 2 actors, it's cut between those 2. But there's sometimes someone will be talking about something in the like the gold mines, for example, and then mid conversation it's cutting to them, or doing a flashback and it's cutting. So it's I felt like it was requiring a lot of effort just to keep glued to it, because I was like worried that they were going to cut to something I might miss. And
so he's tasked, isn't he, with killing the leader or the boss that runs this gold mine, isn't he?
Yeah.
So that's his kind of job in this film.
Yeah, he's a guy that's basically he's decided he's going to work his way to the top through this criminal underworld organisation. Work his way to the top, but as he gets so close to the very, very top, he's got one last job to do, hasn't he? The person that's running the.
What I quite like is now again we're coming into this totally cold, aren't we? And from a sort of UK or even American style, you think of Indian films and all anyone ever thinks about is Bollywood. So there's lots of singing and dancing. There isn't in this, and there was one sort of scene in RRR, isn't there? But in this, what I loved is there's a scene where everyone's talking about Rocky, aren't they? They're singing about how Rocky is the baddest ass. He's like really cool. He's really tough. But it's quite clever, because you've got the kids from the slums singing it. Then you've got gang members singing it. Then you've got like even the fishermen on the side of the dock singing about Rocky to show. But it's a great bit of backstory, isn't it? It's sort of like filling in what you kind of need to know, really.
Yeah, I mean, that technique is something you just see in musicals all the time. But what's interesting with this is this and RR, where you wouldn't they have musical moments, but they're not musicals. And I'm struggling to think of a Western film that, and the only one I can think of is Magnolia, that does have a scene in the middle where everyone stops and you see a bunch of characters all singing this song. It's not a musical number, but you just see them singing, and you know someone's just depressing in a car and they sing a bit of the song, and it's done like that. You don't tend to have it, does it? A film's either a musical or it isn't. Yeah,
so it'd be interesting to see whether this. So sorry to keep mentioning RR, but you know it's our only thing we've got to go against. But it seems like there's several styles. So obviously you've got Rocky as a crime thriller, also as an action thriller, but then you've got a little bit of there's 2 musical moments in it, so not really that many. A little bit of music, and then there's kind of like a bit of a semi-romance as well, because Rocky falls in love with the boss's daughter, doesn't he? And it's quite funny because he's this ultra hard man with this massive, really cool beard. He's got like a really chiseled beard, hasn't he? Like one of Frank. Oh, who is it? Frank Miller's 300, isn't he? He looks like
Like
Leonidas. Yeah, at 300, his perfect beard.
I mean, your closest comparison to thinking, what does this guy look like? It's kind of like a Jason Momoa type presence, isn't he? He's a big guy with a big beard.
Yeah, he's absolutely ripped, isn't he?
So it's that kind of.
Do you know what's interesting? Presence. So this is 2018, isn't it? The difference. So I watched this on, was it Amazon Prime? I think, Rob.
Yes, it was in the UK. Yeah.
Really interesting to see the difference in advertising. Every time someone smokes in a film, a little bit came up on the corner of the screen and it said smoking can kill, or smoking, and then alcohol is bad for you. So I thought it was just really interesting and different.
Well, yeah, and the other thing with that is that, like, if you went to see that in the cinema in India, would that be there then? Because there's a horrific anti-smoking video at the start.
Listeners, if you watch,
on there.
Listeners, tell us if that's what you get at cinema. I think it is. It felt like it was a direct cinema copy. So, yeah, he carries on. He then goes... It's kind of like a heist movie in the gold mines, isn't it? Because he's got to get into this mine, do something or other, get to a certain point to meet this person to fight him. I've got to say, it was quite dark in those bits. There's a Schindler's List kind moment, isn't there, with...
Yeah, the first half to me gave me, again, it's always trying to find, you don't want to sort of pigeonhole everything, but I was thinking, like, what's this, what can, the context of this, what is it reminding me of, or something like that to compare it to? And it reminded me a bit of Scarface, with Al Pacino's character just working his way up. I want to be super important, and his morals seem a little bit questionable, how he worked his way to the top. But yeah, then the second bit, when they're in these mines, I was thinking, hang on, this is starting to feel like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, all these people in this mine. And then, like you said, then it starts getting quite grim, and you're thinking, this is getting more like sort of Schindler's List territory, but then it goes slow motion action anyway. So you've got like you can see influences,
but
scattered throughout it, really.
But what I will say is, what was it? Was it Red Notice we watched earlier this year? I think it was that with The Rock and Gal Gadot in it. Yeah, that for me, I was watching that and I was going, okay, this is trying to be Indiana Jones and this is trying to be this. I understand what you're saying about this in KGF, but I didn't feel like it was trying to be there. I felt like it was doing its own thing.
No, it's just what it reminded me of. I think the only reason I'm doing that and sort of saying that, and my brain's in, and when I'm watching it, is just because this is the second film that we've watched, in our exploration of Indian cinema, and it's just thinking, what's this like? Compare it to.
And again, it's got that, in say my background is like kung fu film, so in that you've always got one guy taking on 20 or 30 guys. Same sort of thing here. Rocky is an absolute ripped badass, isn't he? So he's taking down gangs of guys all on his own, and then as you get to like the end of the film, I think we're allowed to say spoilers, Rob. It's a 2018 film. He's fighting in a mine on fire against sort of like the big boss, and that was pretty epic going stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing which, as we're learning, because I feel like we're on a little journey together, aren't we?
We are, aren't we?
Yeah. So RR was Telugu language.
Yes.
And this is Kannada language. So I don't know if you're finding the same thing as me when you type in the name of the film we're going to watch, like we chose KGF to talk about.
Yeah.
You go on Amazon Prime and there's lots of versions, and you're just thinking, and I want to watch it in its original language, obviously with English subtitles.
Yeah.
But I was thinking it would really do my head in if they were dubbed with another Indian language, and then I'm watching them subtitles. I at least want their mouths to match what they say, so I can actually hear the original actor talk. So, yeah. So this is the Kannada version. So I think when next time, just make sure we're watching it in the original language. So yeah, that's interesting for me, seeing that the fact there's different languages and all these different film industries, because before we started watching any of these films, to me, I would have just used the word Bollywood as if it was synonymous with Indian cinema, and it's not at all. So
it's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, we've only watched 2 films so far, but I'm really enjoying the different style of cinema, how the characters are played. I think you said one of your episodes, Rob, you'd look forward to seeing like a female main character, maybe like an Atomic Blonde or something like that.
Yeah, because American cinema's done that, but again, it's like trying not to judge it yet until I watch a lot more, because I've only watched 2 films. But this is, so far, these last 2 films have reminded me more of the 80s style American cinema, like Commando, Arnie, Stallone, where you've got these big
heroes,
where the heroes look like they're not human beings. They're, carved from stone. They're just, big, impressive, unstoppable. And there's no doubt in your mind they're never going to be stopped. And the fun is watching them be unstoppable, isn't it? You don't watch this feeling like he's going to suddenly get injured or break down and lose a fight. The fun is watching him take down a whole room of gangsters.
It is.
Yeah, and he's got a chain that he's been chained up with, and he's got a room full of could be like 40 bad guys with knives and pipes and stuff, and he's just taking them all out, and that's the fun side of it. Yeah.
If I had a little gripe, I would say spoilers for the ending here. I found the ending it was build up. Suddenly the end is done, and then it's like, right, watch the rest in KGF 2. And I was like, I wanted to know what happened to Rocky, because there's kind of hints about what happens further on down the line. I thought, I wanted to know that. But
yeah, because this is the thing with watching something like this, because obviously normally if you're watching the film franchises when they actually come out, then you've got a feeling of what number 2 is going to be like. But with these, where we're going into it cold, I had no idea that this was going to be a part 1 and part 2. Literally, you need to watch both like this.
Yeah.
I was kind of, as it was getting towards the end of the first one, I was thinking, is this going to wrap up? And is Yash even going to be in the second one so much? Or is it more of like a cash-in sequel? Is he just going to be barely in? It's going to be someone else's story or what? So
I'm assuming he's
going close to the end. I was feeling like, this isn't going to wrap up, is it? This is going to... It clearly is a part 1. Looks like a sort of truncated...
So go on then, Rob.
Clearly planned to be 2 halves.
Rob, how many Rocky walking in slow motion through rain towards the screens do you want to give this?
Well, probably fairly low, actually. Out of 10, I'm glad I watched it, but really in terms of entertainment, more of a 5 or a 6 out of 10. And the reason for that is I did find that editing style so intrusive. I was so aware of the editing, and once I was aware of it, I couldn't stop finding myself being kind of annoyed by it. And the second one I've heard has got a different film editor.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it's the same director, but it's definitely a different film editor. And I'm kind of thinking, I hope the second one isn't quite so madly, frantically edited. But
yeah,
that's the big issue I had with it, really.
Are you going to watch the second one? I know I will. I'll watch it at some point. Yeah,
we'll watch a few. I think we need to watch a few other things and then come back to it.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it about a 7 perfectly trimmed beards out of 10. Because there's no denying he's hypnotic, isn't he? Yash or Rocky. I don't know where the actor stops and the character begins. You can't take your eyes off it.
It's very watchable.
Yeah,
I can't deny that. It's very watchable. It's not as hands down, full on entertaining as I found RRR, and also RRR passed the T test, and also that top level Hollywood handshake.
The wife test.
It passed the wife test as well.
Unheard of, yeah.
This didn't pass the wife test at all. And it didn't pass the T test, because I admit there was a bit I nipped out and came back in again, and without even thinking about it, I went, hang on a minute, that's telling. I've not paused it. I've kind of feeling like this scene's going on. I've got time to nip out.
Maybe KGF 2 will catch you, Rob.
Yeah, we'll see. So let's move on. So you watched Werewolves Within, recently, which based on a video game I'd never heard of.
Same here.
I guess it's like Among Us type thing.
I was just going to say, it's someone's the killer, who done it type thing. So this is, what is his name? Sam Richardson, isn't there? Sam Richardson,
he's like the new cop, sheriff, whatever his title is, moving into a very small town, small cast of characters in the town.
Crazy characters, aren't they?
They all know each other. They're all quirky and eccentric. It's thick with snow, and him just trying to get his head around all these crazy different people,
kooky characters,
and then people start getting killed in bloody ways, and so there's a werewolf
in a comedy horror way, though, isn't it? It's not like a proper horror. It's kind of, Sam Richardson is playing that sort of slightly awkward, goofy character, nice guy, and I like him a lot. Actually, saw him.
It's more like when we talked about it the other day. What did I say? It's more like
Clue.
It's more like Clue. Yeah.
Way to go for a up to date film there.
Yeah, up to reference. Or is that more sort of like a Gremlins vibe or something like that? Isn't it? Where it's not full on horror, is it? So it's that kind of comedy
but the
horror.
Characters are they're so caricatures, aren't they?
I mean, this has got like a rated R, which doesn't quite translate exactly to what it would be over here.
Didn't feel like it, wasn't it?
No, I don't. So would that be an 18? It felt more like a 15 sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think you see anything particularly bad in it. It's got, the bits when they are meant to be a bit nasty have usually got like a bit of a funny, quirky bit, so you feel like you're smiling along with it, Roll.
Yeah, or it's off screen, isn't it, as well? You're kind of off screen. You've got someone being murdered and there's some paint splattered up against the wall or something.
Yeah, and then you just see leftover body parts and stuff like that.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you guess who the werewolf was, Rob?
I don't think I was trying out. So when there is a guessing game there for you to play along, but I felt like I wasn't really thinking too much about it, so I didn't really guess. No.
Oh yeah, within 5 minutes really I was like, yeah, you're the werewolf. Yes. Do you know what I'd love to see? Slight spoiler, but not a spoiler. I'd love to see a film where someone is a cop hunting down a werewolf or a cat. I only say this because I've read a book like this before, and they actually don't know, and they themselves are actually the killer. I don't know if there is a film, but I read a book like that once. This guy had a multiple personality disorder, and he didn't realise he was the killer. I'd like to see it, but yeah, Werewolves Within was a nice...
There's a French film. I think it's pronounced Haute Tension, High Tension, or Hot Tension. I think it's, which has that kind of gimmick where someone's on the run from a killer, and then the twist is they're the killer.
Okay.
But the problem is when it. Sorry, I've ruined that French horror film for anyone that might want to watch it out there. But it doesn't hold up or make sense, because the scenes where like someone's like opening the door and dragging her out, and she managed to break herself free and run off, and so you think, well, hang on, if you were the killer all along, then who was dragging you out the door? And it's that kind of thing which doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, that's
the actress in this who plays the post office worker.
Yeah.
Is great, isn't she?
She's fabulous. I've not seen it in anything before, but she was really magnetic, really funny, cute as a button as well, really kind of kooky and cool.
Yeah, she's great. And I think I've never watched it, but the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which has got a bit of a Marvel cult following, I think she voices the character in an animated series. Yep. And I do believe they even filmed some stuff for a pilot or something to make like a little TV show. That when Marvel was allowing other people to do shows like the Runaways was on Hulu or whatever it was and stuff like that. I've got a feeling that they started making this Squirrel Girl show. I could be wrong on that, but
maybe
perhaps it just needs a bit more fan support on that, and that would happen.
I actually like Squirrel Girl as a character. I saw a Squirrel Girl cosplayer once, and she was fabulous.
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
Go on then, Rob. How many? Let me think. How many awkwardly friendly Sam Richardsons do you want to give this out of 10?
I gave this a 7 out of 10. I think.
I think
it's good.
An easy watch. I think it's hour and a half.
It's enjoyable.
90-minute watch. Easy on the attention. You can nip out and make a cup of tea during this. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna get anything sort of.
So she's famous in America as the AT&T. Is that like an internet company or a computer company or something?
Yeah, they're a phone.
So she's famous as the AT&T lady. So I guess she's the face of their adverts. Okay. But when you Google online, she's in proper costume there. So they must have filmed some sort of pilot or something like that.
No, not heard of that at all. Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah. Marvel's New Warriors footage. So they started making a New Warriors show. This is 2021, and so it looks like it got scrapped and never happened.
There you go. Right, Rob. We'll wrap it up there, I think. Folks, thank you for joining us today. Again, if you've got recommendations for further Indian cinema films, we're all ears. As I say, we've got a little bit of a list going on. What is it? Is it Bahubali? Is it next, Rob?
Bahubali,
I hope we're pronouncing these well. I'm sure
we're slaughtering the pronunciation of the names of the actors and the films. We've got quite a few to get through. I can't find the list. We've got a list as long as your arm.
Yeah. So drop us a line. It's wehavebeenwatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Over on Twitter, it's @WHBWpodcast. And on Instagram, it's wehavebeenwatchingpodcast. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.